Irises are perfect for the lazy gardener. It is one of the most beautiful and easiest flowering plants to grow in your garden. It's a perennial that will bloom beautifully year after year with little to no effort. Perfect for the lazy gardener. Irises are so easy to grow that even if you don't have time to water your irises, they will thrive. In this video, I'll show you how to care for your irises the lazy way. How to grow irises the lazy way. Irises watering requirements. Do you need to water your irises every day? No, you definitely don't need to water your irises every day. However, water frequency will depend on the type of iris variety and when it was planted. Established Siberian irises are drought resistant and don't need to be watered daily or even weekly. Natural rainfall should be sufficient. In fact, it's best to underwater Siberian irises because you don't want the rhizomes to sit in wet soil, which can cause the rhizomes to rot. However, if you're experiencing drought or a dry spell, do water your irises. If you have Japanese irises, you do need to make sure to water them at least once a week since it needs abundant moisture. For bearded irises, you should feel the soil. Stick your finger 3 inches deep in the soil. If the soil feels dry, water your iris, but if it feels moist, don't water your bearded iris. If you have newly planted irises, you should water your irises 3 times a week to keep the soil moist to ensure root growth. Irises fertilizer requirements. How often should you fertilize your irises? Fertilize your iris 1 to 2 times a year depending on the type of iris variety. For Siberian iris, fertilize your irises once a year in the spring. For bearded irises, fertilize twice a year, once in the spring and once after bloom. For Japanese iris, fertilize twice a year, once before bloom time and once in the spring. When it comes to fertilizing irises, it's easy to be a lazy gardener since you only have to fertilize twice a year. Iris pruning requirements. Do you need to deadhead irises after they bloom? Irises don't need deadheading after they bloom, which is great for the lazy gardener. Just leave it alone for a few weeks. It needs this time for the leaves to bring back energy to feed the rhizomes. Then when fall comes around and you start to see the leaves turn brown and die, you can cut back your irises. Cut back irises by removing the stems and leaves. Cut your irises down so that only 2 inches of foliage are left. Wait until after 3 to 4 frosts when the iris leaves have completely died off before cutting back irises. For lazy gardeners, cutting back irises is probably the hardest part of taking care of irises, but it's only once a year, so it's not that bad. Where to plant irises? As a lazy gardener, getting the location right from the start is important. If you get the location right, your iris will automatically bloom nicely year after year. Irises will grow best in a sunny location. Make sure your iris is getting 6 to 8 hours of sunlight a day. Sunlight is key to success when it comes to irises. Plant it in a sunny location and your irises will automatically bloom year after year, perfect for the lazy gardener. Plant your iris in moist, well-drained soil. If you're planting Japanese iris, give it a slightly acidic soil. Plant in a group of 3 to 5 and the iris flowers will look brilliant all in a row. Go ahead and take credit for your irises even if you have done little to no work in your garden. When is the best time to plant irises? Bearded irises are best planted in July, August, or September, while Japanese irises and Siberian irises are best planted in the fall. Make sure you plant your irises at least 4 to 6 weeks before the first frost to give them sufficient time to grow new roots for winter. Iris bloom time. Irises start blooming in early summer. Iris flower colors. Iris flowers come in a variety of colors from purple to white to pink to yellow. Iris varieties. Popular iris varieties are Siberian iris, bearded iris, and Japanese iris. Bearded iris is the most coveted and popular iris. Best iris for the lazy gardener. Siberian iris is the best variety of iris for the lazy gardener. It's the easiest iris to grow because it is low maintenance and drought resistant, and typically pest and disease free. You really don't have to do much for your Siberian iris to flower beautifully year after year. You don't even have to water them. Just cut back once a year and fertilize once a year. That's it. Are irises deer resistant? Deer, squirrels, and rabbits will not bother your irises. I've had irises in my garden for over 2 decades now, and they've not bothered my irises. Plant your irises freely in your garden with no worries of garden critters. Are irises toxic to pets? Irises are toxic to cats and dogs. According to the ASPCA, irises contain pentacyclic terpenoids, which are toxic to cats and dogs. It can cause vomiting and diarrhea. Iris rhizomes contain the highest level of toxins. What are the common problems of irises? Irises are truly perfect for the lazy gardener. It is rarely afflicted with pests and diseases. I've had irises in my garden for over 2 decades, and I've never had any diseases or pest problems. Bearded iris are commonly afflicted by iris borers, which is a pest that tunnels in the rhizomes. If you see brown leaf tips and dying leaves, it can be a sign of iris borers. Remove the affected leaves and dig out the rhizomes to see if there are tunnels and caterpillars. If you see these, get rid of the infected rhizomes. Irises are great for the lazy gardener. Just cut back once a year and fertilize 1 to 2 times a year. Taking care of irises is so easy. With little to no effort, you'll have beautiful flowers year after year. Please like and subscribe for more gardening videos like this. Check out my video on how to cut back irises. Thanks for watching.